Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Cohen. I'm here from New York City. This is Saturday Night Live. No, this is not. So, welcome. Today we have two hosts, myself and Rono. Hello, Rono.
Everyone. I think we lost Susie in the waiting room.
Oh, where is
Hopefully she
Susie?
joins back.
Yes, I'm sure she'll be back soon. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Roberta, Linda, Lisa. Whew. This is a great party today. We're going to speak about a subject that everybody's thinking about, but it feels, that it's still such a mystery that not everybody's speaking about it. So the theme of the day is happiness. What makes us happy? Where is this coming from? Why it seems so hard to be happy? These are questions we will scrutinize together. But before we speak about happiness, I want to remind everybody you guys are veterans of the Open Diners, so you know this by heart. But anyways, let's review these. During the discussions, we are trying to create a supportive environment where we connect above any differences. We all have different opinions, but we respect everybody's opinions and where everybody's coming from. During the discussion, we have to stay on topic. I try not to criticize and avoid politics as best we can. I know right now these days it's difficult to avoid politics, but we can do this. Remember to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. This way, there's not too much interference between the people's microphones. Um, and if you can turn on your camera, great. Everybody is doing this right now. Thank you so much. And please remember to keep your answers brief so that everyone has a chance to speak. And you'll see the magic happens when everybody says a little something, a little sparkle. The final picture and the final puzzle is beautiful. I will now give the mic to Rono for the icebreaker.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm Onom from Rotterdam. And hopefully we're hoping Susie can join again. We're going to have an icebreaker. Of course, he's going to have us, get to know each other a little better, a little bit more. And you're going to do it quickly, briefly, of course, and imagine something. It's going to be funny. It's going to be fun, hopefully. You say your name, where you're from, and you answer the following question. Imagine that scientists discover a flavor of ice cream that comes with all the nutrients that the body needs. Something that you can eat all the time, something that doesn't make you fat. What flavor should it be?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
I'm Roberta from Long Island, New York, and I happen to love Ben and Jerry's super fudge chunk chocolate. That's if that could be like that, that'd be it. That's it.
I'm Linda from New York, and coffee is my all-time favorite ice cream, so it has to be coffee flavored.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm from Chicago suburbs in Illinois, and I have to go with Roberta on chocolate. I think I'll even go further and go chocolate chip cookie dough. That would be amazing.
Well, I have nothing to add. I'm Alisa from Brooklyn, New York, and I can go with Nancy's choice or with Roberta's choice, as long as it's chocolate.
Anthony Cohen here from New York. It's hard not to agree because strangely enough, I have chocolates everywhere and I don't get tired of it. So that would be it. And I would add maybe flavor Nutella, you know?
Ah, nice. You guys are making me hungry. That's bad. It's in the middle of the night here. Damn it. For me, there is an ice cream that I had once in Long Island. It had cake in it, but I don't remember the name for the life of me. It was vanilla with cake. That was so good. Anyway, that's what it should be. Imagine if I could eat that every day, all day long, with 3 meals a day, plus snacks. Oh man, it would be so good.
We'd
It
probably
will
get tired of it. We'd get tired of
exactly it will
Mm,
become
Ice
boring.
cream with cake in it? Nope. I'm from Haiti. Cake is the cornerstone of every dessert. Come on, no. No. All right.
Can I
Let's
ask
talk
real
about
quick, Rono? Can I
yeah.
ask Rono real quick? What flavor would the cake be?
Well, we can vary that from time to time. Sometimes
Ah,
with fruits.
and it would be
That's
vanilla ice
it.
cream, so you can mix
Of
any
course.
flavor, right? Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it does. All right, we're gonna to talk about the rules of the roundtable. Those rules govern our discussions. So I'm gonna share a little clip, very short. Pay attention. It gives you an idea of how on Pedana we conduct ourselves and how we can have such vibrant and warm discussions. Here we go.
The rules of the round table. Around the table, no one is more important or less important. Everyone is equal and very important. We don't reject opinions or negate, but only collaborate. The real solution won't come from knowledge or verbal perfection, but only from our connection.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Rono, and hello to M and to Sharon from Uganda. Thank you for being here. Tonight we're going to discuss happiness, what it means to be happy, where does it come from? These are wonderful questions that we would all want to know the answer. We all probably have an opinion, so I can't wait to hear your opinion. Before we discuss, we will hear the opinions of some psychologists, some celebrities. There's a nice video that is like 2 minutes, and we'll watch it. We'll hear what they have to say, and then we'll, share our own version of it.
Ooh, what is happiness? um,
I think happiness is a pretty complicated concept that has to do with just sort of pleasure on the one hand, but has to do with broader meaning also.
We know that there's a whole spectrum of a positive state that one wants to attain that is much more nuanced than the word happiness would imply.
It seems to me that happiness is some blend of experience of pleasure and the experience of meaning and fulfillment in life, and I think much more of the latter than the former.
For me, staying in my own lane, not being comparative to others, my peers, that could have more than me or less than me, that is when I'm the most happy, when I'm in my own lane.
So happiness is something more long-term. I could sensibly ask you if you're happy with your day or happy with your life. Pleasure is short-term. Say, pleasure is an experience that could last 10 seconds, 20 seconds, a minute, a sip of wine. It could be hearing a joke, being hugged, watching your child laugh.
If you want to define happiness in any big picture way, you really want to be focusing more on what gives life meaning and purpose than you do on the moment-to-moment little jolts of joy that you might get.
happiness to me before I was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago meant something very different to me. Happiness back then was about achieving these big milestones, graduating from college, getting the right kind of job. Now happiness to me is about the mundane, everyday little things in my life.
And we know a lot about the things that are associated with high life satisfaction. By far the most important is your relationships with other people.
There's kind of fleeting happiness, the kinds of little buzzes you get from eating an awesome ice cream sundae. But to me, the real happiness what I would call joy is kind of that deep connection you get with somebody else. My son racing up to me and just throwing his arms around my neck and his legs around my middle, and he's the koala bear and I'm the tree. That's happiness. That's happiness.
Well, that's quite beautiful to hear all these answers. It seems that everybody has an opinion. I don't know if should say everybody has an opinion or nobody has a clue about how to be happy. We'll find out tonight. So the way we're going to answer the first question is a popcorn style. So as you feel you're the next person to speak, you will know, you will feel it. You can unmute, share a little something, and then mute back and let the other person share their point of view. So the first question we will explore together, we heard them give their opinion. Now we want to ask what causes happiness in your life? If you really think about it, when are you the most happy? What really makes you happy in your life?
When I'm with my children and my grandchildren.
I could say that my dog actually brings me such happiness, truly, because I know it's a pet, you'd say whatever, but I live alone and I have to tell you, when I wake up in the morning, it brings me happiness. It's unconditional love, truly, in a lot of ways.
I feel that same way about my cat. No matter how I'm feeling, what's going on, he's just so cute and loving that, I mean, you just can't be sad when you've got a pet like that around, a dog or a cat. I mean, either way, or any animal for that matter, they're wonderful. The other thing that I think makes me happy is when I get out of bed and feel good. And I know that sounds so basic, but I haven't felt that great lately. So no energy, just dragging. But when I do wake up like today and I feel energetic and good and ready to do a bunch of stuff, that really, really makes me happy.
That all sounds beautiful. I think what makes me happy when people, bring happiness like dog to to Roberta, like cat to Nancy, like people bring to each other and treat each other, with this, like animals can only, I think, unconditional love. That's what they bring people. That's what when when I share happiness, or my friends or anyone, strangers, share how happy they are to see something, to experience something, that brings me, I think, the most happiness.
I would say my family for sure.
Sharon, what do you think?
What makes me happy is to see my mom happy and my family happy and the people around me happy. That makes me really happy. Yeah.
Thank you. It seems that right now we're talking a lot about family and pets. Just an observation. Bruno.
Yeah, but have you noticed that it's always in relation with someone or like around you, even a pet, like let's call them someone. It's not with a thing. I remember there was a professor, I forgot her name currently, but she was saying that there was a study in the university with university students. When they asked them what they aspire to, they usually mention something about being successful or making money. But when they ask them what is the best experience they've had in the past month, they talk about like experience they've had with other people. So in a way, we feel where the happiness has to come from, but we don't always, associate it like something that we pursue in that way. Me, what causes happiness is being able to get along with people. It's something that is so difficult sometimes, when you have a stranger around you, someone you meet like there, and they come from whatever experience they're coming from. They can be in a good or bad mood. But if you're able to, interact with them in a way that is pleasant and makes both of you go away smiling or, even happier, then that's something that I think is a victory. Susie, the question is what causes happiness in your life?
I'm very happy that Susie joined. That definitely brought me so much happiness.
I've been trying since 20 minutes. I mean, I really tried to get here, but the solar wasn't supporting the internet, but I called everybody and somebody helped, and I'm here. Thank you. Thank you. You guys encourage me so much. And with this hat and this background, it looks like I'm the flying nun. It keeps disappearing, but forget it. I don't have time for anything else right now. Thank you.
Really great to see you, Susie. All right, let's go to a second question. It's kind of a follow-up. Imagine a life of constant pleasures, good food, good sex, good moments, enough money, etc. Would that be enough to keep you happy? Let's try it as an experiment. Imagine a life of constant pleasures, all of those that I mentioned. Would that be enough to keep you happy?
I'll answer, nope. Never, 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 never. I've learned this in the last 56 years, that if you're happy because of your outer circumstances, all those things listed, that's not enough. And how I've learned it is I'm happy because I'm loved. The universe loves me. You all love me. People that are supporting me love me. And if I'm loved, I'm okay. So that's what makes us happy. I mean, in my humble opinion.
Well, to tell you truth and be absolutely honest, I would love to experience this state. Then I would be honestly answering the question.
Well, I can add that it must be something different because you could see, I think the highest rate of people that commit suicide actually are billionaires and millionaires. I mean, that's a big range there, but people that have everything, you think of all the actors that pass and off themselves. You say they had every single thing that we would ever want, you'd think, right? Even fame at that point. And it was not enough. And you say, there's got to be something to it, So I would think it's great to want all those things, but there's definitely something more.
Yeah, I think it has to be more than material things.
Us as humans, I don't think we're ever satisfied that way because, after what was that in an economics class? I learned the law of diminishing returns. When you eat the first sundae, it's wonderful. But then if you get another sundae, it's okay. And on it goes until you just don't want anymore. And I think that would be that way with everything. I think we would never be satisfied. It would never be enough. It really would be too empty. Really, I think you got to look for a little more meaning in your life than material things and pleasures.
One thing I can add this to help the discussion along. There was a big clue in this question. One of the best and worst thing that can happen to a person is winning the lottery, especially when it's very, very, very big. So what is there? Like some of the unhappiest people are lottery winners. And we keep thinking about, hoping to have a life of worry-free life, like we don't have material, needs that are unmet. And yet this is not enough. So why?
worked at a store once where a health food store. I used to quit the law firms to, because I needed less stress, and I'd go work in a health food store. And a guy came in and he won the lottery, and everybody gathered around him to hear his great stories. It ruined him. He had no health anymore. He got better drugs, better alcohol, better, and he just took what he knew to the limit, and it didn't go. So if I did win the lottery, the first thing I would do was get a financial somebody to help me make the right choices, because I don't think that's the answer at all. I could do a lot with the lottery, but my choices would be to have a healing center and different from better alcohol, better drugs. Huh.
From what I've heard, whenever I hear stories about this, it does sound like the lotteries ruin people more than anything, because even the ones who are very close to family and friends, well, all of a sudden they're not them anymore. Now they're just money, and everybody comes out of the woodwork. So, and they end up losing a lot of family and friends from it, and they spend all the money on all these things they thought would make them happy, and when it's gone, they're not, and then they don't have any money left anyway. It doesn't, I mean, we all want to think, I want to think too, like you, Susie, that I would be careful with it and use it wisely. Personally, me, I'd like to give it all to charities. I always wish I could give more to charities than I can, but I don't know how we all would react. Money in the hands of humans isn't very good. We don't really know what we're doing with it. And then there's the verse in the Bible that says, money makes it really, really hard for people to find God, because money becomes God instead of the truth about things.
We also want to welcome Yuko. Nice to have you here. Where are you joining us from? Remember to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Very
hi.
well.
I don't know if I thought this is like just like a meet people. This is something else. Sorry,
Well, it is. We gather together every 2 weeks and we discuss, topic just so we can connect with each other. Right now, we're talking about happiness, and the current question is: imagine a life of constant pleasures. Would that be enough to keep you happy?
yeah, that would be nice. Constant pleasure. Why not? Why not? That's nice. Why are you guys even questioning?
We're not questioning if it's nice. The question is, would that be enough to keep you happy?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it has to be like a real pleasure of like someone loves you and everything too. I mean, it's you guys are talking about the money, but I mean, it has to be you feel loved, and that's pleasure also. So it has to come from a lot of different pleasures. I feel like.
It's interesting that you answer it that way. That's good. That goes along with the discussion. That's very intuitive.
I got a quickie. I got to work with I was the personal assistant to 9 millionaires. They were all miserable. Many of them asked me if they would trade places with me, and I said no. I said I'd take your money and your property and stuff, and I'd sell it and do stuff that I wanted to do with it. But no, they were all miserable. The happiness has to come within.
If I may, I think we're all clear at this point that definitely if we had all the good food, all the good sex, pleasure, all that money, I think we're all clear to say that it would be fantastic and that we should not want anything less, but that it would not be enough. So then if it is not enough, the next question is, I think we said before, what makes us happy is like connection with people or pets. There seems to be something to do with like being with each other. So I think we're ready for that next question, which is a bit more deep. It's about happiness is often associated with good relationships with other people. So why is it so hard to deal with each other? That's a trick question a little bit because we like happiness is people. At the same time, hell is people too, in some ways.
Yeah, it is. It is a deep question, you know, why is it hard? You know, it's true that the happiest moments are, I think we all can, that we can share with, you know, friends, families, with, you know, unexpected strangers and in a group of people at the concerts and so on and so on. But we are so different, you know, we're so different. It's just like two magnets with, you know, this, that they just reject each other, you know. Unfortunately, the closer we get together, the more we discover the differences, and we are not taught to appreciate those differences, that we complement each other. It's other way around. We think a different, this is not for me.
You know, just to add to that, the last question was about, you know, good food, good sex, good moments, enough. Now this goes deeper. It's like internal. It's almost like, okay, now I want you, Anthony, to be nice to me, say what I want to hear. Never put me down. Don't disagree. I'm not like this with people. Don't think that. But when you're with family or relationships, you get the irks where you don't like what someone says, and now there's argument. So it's not meeting my expectations again. That's just like with the money. I'm going to search for something that's going to make me happy. We're constantly, it seems like a constant chase of happiness. We're associated with people to make us happy for sure, but it's difficult sometimes because it seems like the ego comes in to be filled more or be patted on the back. I don't know. I hope you get the gist. Maybe somebody can continue.
I'd like to finish with that because I was thinking about the same thing, Roberta. When we love other people, yes, we do care about them and we do for them, but it's really for ourselves. When we see these family members and friends, we're expecting for some reason for them to fill our own egos. We try to fill theirs, but it's a secondary thing if it's there at all. And I think that when you want somebody to fill your own, it's never going to be satisfying. We don't really consider that we're the least of it, and we should think, like, try harder to be more sincere towards others than just fulfilling our own. I still say that, yeah, fulfilling ourselves is just, it's not deep enough. It's too shallow and it wears off. But if you bring something to someone else, that probably lasts a lot longer.
I will just jump for 2 words, Nancy. It's amazing what you're saying, because satisfying yourself, you never satisfy yourself. It is a bottomless pit, you know.
I think when you have something in common with someone, you can get along with them better. But if it's somebody who's like completely opposite, you know, every negative to your positive or positive to your negative, not going to do it.
Isn't that everybody around? That's what it is. I think we have to learn to find something in common. Otherwise, you know, we will be just spreading apart and, you know, like stars moving, you know, from each other.
And that's why it's so hard to deal with people, because we don't look for the commonalities.
If you're not used to, feel free to jump in whenever there's a moment. So you can just remember to be brief and mute yourself afterwards.
I feel that M is the next person to speak. I don't know why. I feel it.
Um, yeah, I guess I would just agree with everyone else what they're saying, because I mean, there's not really anything you can do about that. Everybody said, you know, everybody is different, which is true. You're not going to get along with everyone. But maybe it's the kind of like what you do. If you're like, we're all here at the meetup, but we're all very different. So it's like the meetup is bringing us together for like this particular cause, I guess, yeah, to talk about happiness. So I think in ways like that, people can maybe get along, but then, it's not always a given.
You know, I think Nietzsche, the philosopher, said hell is other people. And we're supposed to be doing the opposite of that, you know? It's like my first master teacher said, the kingdom or the new age is our relationships. It's everything is our relationship to ourselves, to others, to nature. So yeah, I don't think hell is other people. Hell is as we process. I mean, hell disappears as we process our relationships with others.
I agree with Emma. As Emma said, since we are all different people, we all have different thoughts. You might think something about someone, but that someone, like the other person, is opposite about what you are thinking about them. So it's hard to connect. Someone is opposite, you think something positive about someone, yet the other person is negative. So it's hard to connect with someone because we are all different. We all have different thoughts.
But that raises the question, so how will we connect? You know, how we will find something that connects us. We're human beings, and basically, we're here on this planet for some reason. Why cannot we overcome those differences and find something that really connects us?
Because we're only human.
Well, that's good, but let's say that life has this thing designed in such a way that it's hard to connect. But, could it be that it's because we haven't found the correct formula yet? You have to imagine this. There are people that, by their own character, like their temperament, are easier to get along with. Like we're here, we're getting along. We are completely different, but we keep trying. So what makes it work? Is that the rules that we set before in the beginning? Or, we're trying to accommodate each other in a way? Would there be a good formula for connecting with people that makes it successful?
Have an open mind. When you connect with someone, yeah, don't have expectations. Just go, be like, what can I learn? And what can we talk about? And yeah.
Remember there was a show we did. Oh, go ahead, Nancy. I'll go after you.
No, you go. I wasn't even sure. You go, please.
Okay. I was going to say you guys did a show and it was called The Power of Listening. And that's so stuck in my mind. That was such a great video. Maybe you'll do it again. But they said when you listen to someone, like Emma's saying about being open-minded, listening, taking into consideration what the other person is saying, not ready to jump in and say what I'm going to say. So consideration, I think that's one of the formulas to have respect or patience with somebody else, Good, Nancy.
I'm thinking very similarly. I think we have to put everybody who we are meeting, whoever that is, whatever the situation is at that time, we have to put those people before ourselves. We have to see them as more than us so that our egos don't take over, because the ego's always going to be there. So if we make them better than us in that sense or more than us, then we're going to be even, really, because our ego's never going to get squished that much. So I think I noticed that it works best for me that way because, well, I'm a little bit of an introvert. So if I go places where there's a lot of people, even if I know them, I get uncomfortable. The only way I can do it is I just stop thinking about myself entirely and try to think, how can I make each one of these people happier right now? What can I do to be attentive or to bring out something in them. And that way I'm not in the picture, and it turns out to be a lot more fulfilling than always going after our own. And not only that, but nobody can argue with that. If you're putting that person first, there really isn't going to be a clash in that way.
And that's what you do for us, Nancy.
Thank you.
She let me go first. You see that? You preach what you say.
There is something extra good in that, putting people first. Because if you look at the source of all conflict between people is exactly because they do the exact opposite. Everyone wants to go for, let's imagine this. There is a hurricane in your town. The town is going to be destroyed most likely. You go to the supermarket to get some supplies. There is one last roll of toilet paper. Who gets it? There's always, like, in the news when those things happen, there's always like the scenes of a fight over toilet paper. I'm sorry to use this image, but you understand what's exactly what Nancy is talking about. Like, if we come there and there's few supplies and we have to share them, and we have a tendency to, like, consider the other, then we have the ability to, resolve this conflict quickly and, find everyone, some kind of middle ground where everyone's happy. But if we can't do that, then it's going to be the idea of being hard to work with each other, because and that's going to be the barrier between finding that happiness that's going to be always so elusive. Everyone's first, like, powerful people are taking all the resources. Their employees, when they get better wages, they have to fight, they have to go on strike. It's a constant battle in the human race, and it's just, so far, it's like we see it that it's not working, but we have trouble, applying the right solution.
There seems to be, I love everything, that's beautiful. I think we're pointing something very important. I did hear a lot that there is enough on the planet for everybody to have a very comfortable life. Yet, a lot of people are trying to get more for themselves all the time. It seems that and we are, to some extent in our life, if we look deeper, maybe we are in some ways trying to take for ourselves or making sure it's best for us. So it seems that happiness might also come from going against that tendency to want better for ourselves,
It seems to me like an insecurity, some sort of deep-seated insecurity, that we're afraid if we step back and let others have, we will get nothing, or we'll be left without what we need. And I think that drives people a lot of the time. And I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not.
Nancy, that's really important, because right now people are used to the old age where everybody's vying for position at the top, but in this new age, there's plenty of room for everybody at the top, that we can all be at the top. I mean, we're supposed to all be at the top. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you touched something actually that the new generation, the young people are very different. I think they are not interested that much of grabbing everything to be on the top, and they're, and it's very interesting that they feel that there is some change that needs to be, made in a society, in all societies, that brings happiness to people, to bring them that there is something, in your life that really is sustainable, because we cannot fulfill ourselves. It doesn't matter, like Nancy was saying, it's just one bite and you're still hungry, then another bite, and then another, and you stop feeling what you're eating, you don't want it anymore. And this is true for everything, so there is something else that is much more fulfilling, and that it doesn't, you know, disappear immediately. And that's what I think the young generation feels. And we have to be attuned to them and attuned to each other, that we cannot proceed the way we are as we can see what's going on. We have to stop fighting, like people stop fighting and face each other, you know, like always happens like that.
Welcome back, Sharon.
Thank you. I'd gone off.
Yeah, I was just thinking of like a mother and a child. When a mother has a child, she loves that child to the day she's here or the child is here. And that's all she thinks of, is wanting happiness for that child. She doesn't think of herself at all. And it doesn't matter what happens really in life. She really, I mean, I'm talking about a good parent, let's say. And it's amazing because she's constantly giving and she's not thinking. She's always filling another vessel, not her own. Like our vessel is probably unlimited. I know that what I want the most of everything, but I don't know what Rana wants, and I don't know what Susie wants. So if I give a little bit here and a little bit there, and you're sharing happiness, and you're making other people happy, that seems like it would be an unlimited source of giving, making other people happy in a way. I mean, it sounds like great in textbook, but it seems like that's the most logical thing. If I can't fulfill my happiness, it's unlimited. I should try to extend it out from myself. That's probably the problem. A mother does it easily and happily doing, even in the worst situations, but that's to a child. But I guess that would be the ideal world we're looking at, to give to others like we'd want to give to ourselves. And that would bring joy to me and to the other. How to do that, I don't know. That's why I'm here tonight.
You know, the example with mother, since, you know, I tell you, one of the problems I think in this society, sorry for bringing problems, but this is the solution as well. And I learned it on my own, you know, experience. And now in retrospect, I see what it happens, that parents want children what they want for themselves to achieve. They wanted money, respect, honor, everything that grab, and they raise children to do the same thing. But the child is not, attuned to that anymore. And that what brings a lot of suffering, loneliness through young people. But the cure is that just to be attuned not only to your own children, but to each other more and more, to feel each other where we fit together.
You're absolutely right. It's about accepting people, like I think M said, with an open mind. It's like we have too many preconceived ideas, even about our own kids. I mean, we're like big business people, and what if we have a kid who wants to be an artist? We can't like force them into molds. And I think we do that with other people, strangers who we know. We sort of expect people to be like us without thinking that they may be very, very different, and accepting that.
Yeah, we have built a really messed up world for our kids, and that's a very sad thing. I think when we were talking about this desire for us to receive, to get more and more and more all the time, it's like we are built with the self-preservation instinct that is out of control. Like it wants you to be safe and happy and have enough. The problem is one is not enough. You have one now, tomorrow you want two. All right, immediately after you get those two, then you need two more, you need four, and so on and so forth. So if we are, next to each other, and all the resources are consumed, then the only other source is someone else's stash. Then I have an enemy around me, and it's just it never stops. It's like we're on a path to self-destruction. We have to wake up really soon.
You know, I forget the guy's name, and I should know it because I studied him quite a bit, but he was like #2 or #1 in Google. He was massively rich, had 17 cars, and, you know, he had a great wife, but all of a sudden it just wasn't enough. And he became so conscious, saying, you know what, all this stuff isn't enough. I've got to be okay with me inside. And he even divorced his wife, but it was like on this great level, like, I want to travel the world and you don't, so we'll get you a house. And I mean, it was so healthy because he understood what we're talking about today, that stuff doesn't make us happy. If we know how to be happy, money and stuff can be added to us, and it'll help because we'll know what to do with it, but it's never an answer by itself, in my humble opinion.
I thank you, Susie. That's great. I think it's quite interesting because in our conversation we went through all different kind of scrutinies and we went to different things, different elements, but still it seems still quite unclear in many ways. And it seems to be like the whole world should only speak about what makes us happy because that's all we want. But yet it's still unclear, right? That's so interesting.
Let me say
I
one
think
more.
it's time for the last question.
Oh,
Go ahead, Susie.
one more. Besides working with rich people, I also made a point to go to third world countries, and I visited people that had dirt floors, but they were all smiling. I don't know what it was, but they knew. They were all planting flowers. They didn't have enough food. Some of them you could only get to with a boat. The only way they could live their life is to leave in a boat and get food and stuff, but somehow they had reached something where they were all smiling. It's so different than all these rich people that have everything that don't know how to smile anymore.
I'm gonna add one thing, Rana. I have to. In Greece, somewhere in Greece, it's a blue zone. It's where people live the longest. And one of the things that make them live the longest is the community, the people around them. It's not the mansions. It's not like Beverly Hills. It's very modest homes where people get together, have lunch, dinner, maybe have some food and wine at night, and conversation. That's what's lost in our society. I saw something the other day. It says the amount of time people spend online is like 90% more than it was 10 years ago. It used to be with family and friends and whatnot. It's down now to you're not even with family or friends, you're on the computer. So that's community really brings people happiness. I that's a fact.
All right, then the last question is the most obvious one. So what is happiness?
I don't think there's one definition. I think it's a whole bunch of things together. I think one of them is a fully and complete acceptance of yourself, who you are, good or bad. Well, good and bad, because we all are. I also think it's appreciating or thinking about like being grateful for people and things around and what you have. I also think it's like putting other people first. I mean, there's all sorts of things that go into being happy, and each thing has its own part. I mean, health, that's another one. You know, I think it's a mixture of all things. And then it's like the first video said, there's also levels of happiness, you know, like I'm really happy right now getting to talk with all of you. But that's one level. I get another level of happiness when I spend time praying to God. That's a whole different level. So I think that's, you know, happiness is a really complex topic.
It's very subjective. I think it's different for different people.
Well, I think can bring it closer to being objective, that all of a sudden I think I would be very happy if I would feel that I belong no matter where I go, no matter where I appear, and the same everyone around would feel, you know? that we belong, we belong to each other, we belong to this place, to that place, to another place, it doesn't matter where we are, we feel like we are within the closest family. That will bring everyone happy, I think.
Can add a good community, good family, good friends. There's a house that's standing out of thousands that were burnt down in Palisades, one that they had fireproof. And the man says he was crying with his wife. He says, how can we be happy that one house is saved when everybody else's is burned? So it has to do with your surroundings, the people you're with, contentment, knowing that you're happy, I'm happy, that we're all in a community where we're working together. One is not enough. It can't be.
Yeah, I also agree with Nancy. Like happiness is a bunch of different things. As for me, like as a recent graduate, I've just graduated. That made me happy, but it also made me happy when I saw my family happy for me. I saw people around me happy for me. That made me happy because if my mother wasn't happy, I wouldn't have been happy because I had graduated. But since all that came together, that made me happy. And also it made me happy to get like having got a chance to finish graduating, because since it was hard for me to study, I passed through a lot to study, but it really made me happy for that. So it's a bunch of different things together that makes someone happy. As I say right now, I'm happy because I'm talking with you. I couldn't even think about it that at this time I would be talking to people, I would be interacting with different people. So that makes me happy to get friends, like to make friends. So that's it.
And congratulations. That brings happiness to all of us.
Thank you.
Right. I think we're going to draw to a close now. Anthony's got a very nice song for us also, so we'll give him time for that. I was very happy to see you here. Speaking of happiness, you brought me a lot because, this meeting went by very, very quickly. Seems like an hour would not be enough, but we still have to close and come to a conclusion. And there is one thing that is all of the things you said make me think of is that no matter what it is, the definition that we give to happiness, it comes to be inclusive of others in it. Whatever that those others are, whether they are humans or, just companion animals, it doesn't matter. But also one thing that happens is that, for example, like Sharon was saying, it comes from the ability to see how your life has an influence on others. If we can have a life where every single thing we do brings happiness to others, then the repercussion and the happiness that it brings to us is infinite. It just will never end. This is the one currency that does not fade away and just keeps adding to it. And so one thing that nature is showing us is that every creature, from from the inanimate, like the rocks and the sand, everything in nature is useful to something else. At least one other thing in this environment, immediate environment or distant environment. For example, if you take all the bees out, then there will not be any food for any creature on earth anywhere. So it's like the clue is simple. It's that it's about the place that you are and the ones around you and how you can affect them positively. If you can do that or even wish to do that, then you'll be happy. You'll be able to live a life of gratitude. And gratitude is the key, is the door, the key to the door that opens to happiness, because it puts you in the right frame of mind, and you'll make the right choices after that. I want to thank you for coming, and Anthony, go for it.
Thank you, Rono. Beautiful conclusion. And I think this should almost be a multi-series debate, because it's. I feel there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so the song, it's funny. A minute ago, I changed the song I was going to sing, because the song I had was very rhythmic, but I think it is a very sweet moment right now. So I'm gonna do something that is somewhat rhythmic, but still very sweet. So let's see if it works. It's by Nat King Cole. It's called Love, L-O-V-E. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. Is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love is for the way you look at me. Oh, is for the only one I see. Is very, very extraordinary. Is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Thank you very much.
Anthony.
Yay!
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, guys.
Great show,
I have to
everybody.
tell you, my dad's favorite artist was Nat King Cole, and I grew up with that song. Until this day, it's still one of my very favorite songs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. For Bruno, I think you have the final information.
Thanks, Anthony. Yep, a few announcements. A few ways to keep in touch with us at Urban Diner. You can join our meetup group. You can follow us also on Facebook. We also post on Instagram, Nextdoor, Twitter, Pinterest, and a few more social networks. If you prefer, you can subscribe to our email list for a bi-weekly notification of our events. One thing you should know, our email is not shared with any third party or used for anything other than this reminder. Some of our old events are on YouTube. You can share with friends, and of course, make sure you invite them to come to the next event. Links are here in the chat. All right. In 2 weeks, we're going to have our topic is going to be based on a Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma, about the plague that is social networks. We hope to see you then. Thank you again for joining, and have a great week and be happy.
Bye, everybody.
Hope to see you next week, Sharon.
Thank
hug
you.
to
Yeah.
everybody.
Fran.
Big hug. Yay.
That was
Hope to
great.
see you too.
Take
Bye, everybody.
care.
Good to see you, Susie. You're feeling good. That's good. You're here.
I'm feeling better
Yeah.
each day. Thanks.
Great.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
week, everybody.